they got low credit scores, high utilization, and they're looking for funding. The lenders right now, when you're in that situation, it is possible to get funding, but it's going to require some extra legwork. It's not as easy as these no doc loans, things like that. And I know there's a lot of information out there that there are banks that are quote unquote required to loan you $50,000. Banks are quote unquote required to loan you $50,000 when you qualify for the loan. All right. So here's some things that you want to do. Here's a little checklist for if you're in a situation, you're looking for funding, and let's say you have high utilization. Right now, high utilization has been plaguing everybody. I actually spoke to somebody right now who's looking for a $200,000 loan. They have a 689 credit score, which is good. They have good income, but they have high utilization. A lot of their lines and cards are over 60%. And if you're not aware of this, keep this in mind. This is even something that I learned on my journey. Once you're over like 50% utilization, banks don't like to lend to you, okay? Especially if we're talking about unsecured loans or unsecured products. All of that no doc, low doc stuff goes out the window when you have high utilization. This is even with, if everything else is good, on-time payments, no lates, etc. But high utilization can still be a cause for a denial. So what that means is we would have to pivot. And this is what I've been explaining to a lot of my clients now, who they make great income. They have a fiber optic company, maybe have a construction company. Another consultation I had, the gentleman did concerts, and so they're projected to do about 5 million this year. But with the personal credit and certain numbers and data points not looking optimal, then we have to start looking at other things. This is where a lender is going to start asking you for paperwork and documents, right? This is the less sexy side. This is the side that gurus and whatnot aren't going to talk to you about. Your banker isn't going to go into in depth about what docs are available or what are needed. That's even if they know what's needed. But once we start getting into, you want to get over $200,000 in credit. You want a 500. You want a 400,000, $1 million. They're going to want to look at extra documents, right? They want to hear the story. Okay. So for instance, my client, someone I'm working with right now, we're in the preliminary stages. They have high utilization, but their business has good revenue. They want a $200,000 loan. Loans are typically more difficult to get than, let's say, a line of credit or let's say if you do credit stacking and you do $200,000 in zero interest credit cards, right? They're more difficult. They're going to want to ask you for docs. So some things you can do to prepare for a larger loan. You're going to definitely want to make sure you have your business bank account and that the revenue from the business is going into your business bank account. I know that sounds normal. It sounds like it makes sense. But there are a lot of people right now, and maybe you own, a pet service, lawn care, maybe you have a barbershop, a daycare, and the money for whatever reason is not going into a business bank account. When we're trying to get you funding and you have less than perfect credit, or maybe you don't have a lot of credit at all, but you have this amazing business, they can't take the money that you make into account if you don't put it inside of a business bank account. Super easy to open up a business checking account. Most of them are free, or they may have like a $15 monthly fee, but the fee can be waived, right? So some business bank accounts that you can open include Chase, Bank of America, Novo Bank. Novo is a online bank. A new bank that I just got put on to watching Sheeta 3, shout out to her, is Grasshopper Bank. They're an online business bank account. Your money has to be going into a business bank account. If you're making, a lot of money right now in your business and it's going into your personal checking account, you are doing yourself a disservice and you're missing out on lending opportunities right now. Just straight up and down. Not even gonna hold you, right? And so that's one thing you want to do to make sure you're in position to get this money. Another thing you're going to want to do is have some kind of accounting software, so that, or some way of doing accounting, whether you got QuickBooks, you got some accounting software, you have an accountant, and you can keep track of your profit and loss. Now, this was hard for me too. I was like, I don't know how the hell to do a goddamn profit and loss. What the fuck is that? I don't know. I'm still not too sure. My accountant helped me, and he told me to do QuickBooks, click some buttons, and it'll make a profit and loss statement. And I was like, oh, okay. So you want to have that, because when you're going for larger loans, let's say you decide you want to do something like you want to build a community center or buy a community center, or maybe you're looking at buying a franchise, like you want to open up a Chick-fil-A, right? They're looking at things like the revenue. They're going to look at the financials, right? Your personal financials, the business financials, and of course they already know the projections for Chick-fil-A, right? Like everyone knows that Chick-fil-A is like a gold mine, right? And let's say you have a business, you want to acquire another business, they will be looking at and asking for things like, what's your profit and loss? So when you're going for funding, make sure you have that, right? Even if you just have, if you're not the person that do your own numbers, if you have an accountant or your business partner or a software that does it, just make sure you have that available and you can at least say what your profits are for the year. Okay, that's important, because all of it is about numbers. Everything is it's all numbers for them, right? When the lender's looking at it, that's all they care about is the numbers. Now, the other part with numbers is telling the story, right? So sometimes it sucks when there's a slow season. Like when I had my credit repair business, the beginning of the year was the best time for me, right? Everyone got their taxes, so everyone was like, new year, new me. So the tax season, like the beginning of the year, is fitness, credit repair, taxes. Like everything, those three industries are booming then. And then, around this time, it's damn near dead, right? Holiday season, nobody cares about fixing their credit around the holidays, because, we're shopping, right? We're out shopping, buying everything for Christmas, the holidays, all that good stuff. We're traveling, all that. So when showing revenue, I showed real good revenue in the beginning of the year. But now that revenue, that profit and loss statement ain't looking too sweet, right? When I had the credit repair company. Now I have an affiliate, and I just send all of my clients to them, and they'll do all the credit repair, everything that they need to do, and then we go get them funding, right? And so that's normal. It's normal for you to go through those cycles. And the cool thing is that when you are tracking your numbers, like doing profit and loss statements, or you're using QuickBooks, things like that, you can see those ebbs and flows, and you can almost start to get a feel of when your good time is, when your bad time is, right? It also allows you to look and say, oh, it's a little too bad right now. I really need to pick things up. So you want to make sure you have that when you're doing before and when you're looking at going for financing. Okay, and this specifically, y'all, this is when you want to either go above 250,000. This is one of the reasons why a lot of us that say things like, we'll get you 50 to 250,000. There are no docs required, because up to 250 is generally how much you can get before they start asking for docs. Once you're over that, someone's asking for 300, 400, 500, they're going to want to see documentation. Just think about like buying a house. There's no way to get a house without showing docs. Like, you got to have something. Even if you are doing creative financing with the house, there's still some kind of contract. There's still some kind of down payment, right? No one's giving out $500,000 to anybody without showing docs. That's just not a thing. Okay. If you're looking to buy a business, they're going to want to see the same thing. They want to see projections. They want to see your plans. The lender is trying to basically, the whole point is that they want to validate the idea on paper with numbers, right? So my clients who may not have perfect credit, what that means is, if we don't have perfect credit, if we don't have amazing cash flow, then we have to leverage other things. We have to leverage our paperwork. We may have to leverage our assets, right? You may have to come up with a creative solution where you use your house to secure the loan, right? Especially if, let's say, you have high utilization or your credit isn't as strong as you typically want it to be. These are some things you want to take into consideration. And it came up because I had a lot of inquiries, right? Like literally over the past week, about 25 inquiries came through, and everyone filled out the initial pre-qualification. They got their pre-qualification numbers. Some people got 30, some people got 50, some people got 60, but they didn't have strong credit. And then when it was time to say, hey, okay, what are some of your documents, bank statements, so one of the lenders I work with go up to $5 million, okay, depending on what you're looking for. If you want a commercial real estate loan, if you're looking for a construction loan, if you're building a house, like one of my clients is building 6 duplexes in Alabama. So we're getting her a construction loan. To guide you through a little bit of that process, some of the things that they want to see, of course, they need to know how much it's going to cost, obviously, right? Can't give you a loan without knowing how much you need. Also, the timeline. So if you're looking to do any construction or new builds, the timeline is important. How much money you want, how long do you want it or need it for? So you definitely want to have your timelines of your projects together. So when we submit the application, you already have all that figured out, and folks simply didn't have basic stuff. Like, they didn't know how much they needed. They didn't know what they wanted to use the money for, and they didn't really have a timeline for the project that they claimed they wanted the money for, right? Another gentleman I spoke with wants to buy a laundromat, doesn't know how much the laundromat is going to cost. At least know those basic numbers. Know how much you need. Know how much it's going to cost. Have that available. Know or get an idea of how long it's going to take you to purchase the business or renovate the business. Like with the laundromat, he wanted to buy the building and renovate it. Okay, cool. How much is that? How long will it take? It's easy, pretty simple thing to find out, right? Take some legwork, some due diligence. But these are the type of things you want to inquire about and get that information, because everyone who is lending is going to ask that, right? I'm sure if you were going to offer someone, $800,000 so that they can buy and renovate a laundromat, you would want to know what the money is going to be used for, how long will it take, and how long will it take to repay. And that's a good question for you. When you're going for these loans, along with getting your documents in order, ask questions like, What are some interest rates or a range of interest rates? It's a tricky question, but it's still good to ask because interest rates will vary. Interest rates are going to vary based on your credit worthiness, right? Just like the housing market right now. We know that the prime rate is 8.5. That's the prime rate. Mortgage rates right now are between, like, the lowest one I know is through NACA. That's like 5.7%, and it goes up from there, right? Could be 12% based on your credit. What type of terms are available? That's a good question for you to know, you know. And for those that are not familiar, term just is same word for timeline. How long can I have this loan for? Is it 5 years, 10 years, 12 years, 20 years? Is it a 30-year loan or 30-year mortgage? That's a good question to ask them too. So then you can also have an idea of a time horizon for your money, for your payment plan, things like that, right? Something else you want to do when preparing for a loan is you definitely want to get, and this is for the bigger loans, right? We're looking at over 250, over 300, over 400. The other docs you want to have are tax returns. Okay, if you haven't filed them, I get it. I get it. But if you're looking at 500,000, people are going to want to see tax returns. If you are going for there and have your tax returns for your personal, on the personal side and the business side. Okay. Those are like the main things that we want to start preparing and having in place when we're going for bigger projects. And it's good to start now because it could take time. It could take a couple of months to get all this paperwork in order. Like, I'm not acting like, oh, snap your fingers and it's all there. Most of us barely know how to keep track of it. Like, I'm telling you guys this, and it's also a reminder for me because sometimes I don't keep great, amazing records, even though I should. I know. Practice what I preach. I am working on it. I have people yelling at me to work on it. I'm getting better. All right? I promise. But I just want to be real with y'all. That is, we get it, and we get it. Just when you're applying for financing, understand that these are going to be the questions that are going to be asked, especially if you have bad credit. Even if you have good credit, even if you have a 700, but your utilization is 55%, have documentation to show cash flow. Have documentation to show good revenue. Have documentation to show that you're willing to pledge an asset as collateral. And in the business world, they are really creative when it comes to the different ways you can pledge collateral. Like, one of my lenders, they'll do residential property, they'll do investment properties, they'll do the actual equipment that you own. For instance, if you're a construction company, they'll do the equipment that you own. They'll do the invoices, right? So if you, let's say you have like $400,000 in invoices, they'll front you the money based on you having $400,000 in outstanding invoices. This is common when you're working with the government because the government will typically pays you out in like 30 days, net 30 terms, right? So have that available, okay? Don't be afraid to show the documents. It's okay. If you don't like how the documents look, meaning if the numbers ain't numbering, the math ain't mathing, fix the math, right? Do what you need to do, get the numbers up, because it's about numbers and it's about paperwork, right? So get the numbers where they need to be at and go get your money, okay? If you need any additional help with getting funding, understanding some of the barriers, or not even understanding them, overcoming the barriers to getting access to capital, feel free to click the links in the description of the video. I was about to say my bio. And let's schedule a call. Let's talk about what type of financing you need. Let's see what type of options are available for you. All right. Typically, 150,000 or less, there are a lot of no doc options. Okay. So if you're searching for some no doc options, I'm gonna give you a couple of banks right now. You can check those out. You got Wells Fargo. They have no doc options going all the way up to 150. So does Bank of America. TD Bank has no doc business line of credit going up to 100,000. We all know, of course, that Chase will do no doc all the way up to 150. That is typically on their credit cards. Yes, you can get up to 150,000 no doc on a Chase credit card. Okay. Citizens Bank offers no doc business credit card that goes up to $50,000. Okay. So you have a lot of options available. There are personal lines of credit that go up to $50,000. Now, when you're looking at a personal line of credit, one thing that a lot of people don't tell you about, and I'm giving y'all this so that when we're going for funding, you're already prepared. You're like, Jamal, you already told me to look at this, this, and this. I got this, this, and this together. I just need to know where to go, who to fill out, give me the sequence, give me the order, right? Because I want you in position. And if you're in position, when you hear this, you already have some opportunities. You know, you can go get funding from these banks, right? Of course, no doc means you need to have strong credit. So 700 and up. If you're doing a personal line of credit, I would go, you definitely want to be, I would say, be over 720. A secret data point that no one is talking about right now, but you can get denied for it, is your debt to income ratio. This is super important when you're going for a personal line of credit. Okay. I was working with a client. All he wanted was lines of credit. We couldn't get him lines of credit because the DTI was just too high for it was too high for what he wanted at that time. So we had to pivot, right? Instead of going for all of these different lines of credit, we went for zero business financing. He was able to get about 65,000 with the zero interest financing, right? Which is basically zero interest business credit cards. So sometimes it's not just understanding the data point, it's understanding the data points for each kind of product that you're going for. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So, like I said, I'm here to help. Definitely schedule a call with me. We can hop on a 30-minute call, talk about your funding sequence, what type of products, what you want to have financed, you know, how much you're looking for, and we can build out a strategy to help you get financing. If you want to do all zero interest and do credit stacking, we can do that. I have the sequences to get up to 250,000, right? A lot of people say they want 250 until you start getting those approvals and you're like, oh snap, I'm gonna have to pay $25,000 in commission. Let's stop. I was like, okay, sure, right? That happens. It's normal, okay? But everyone, please have your docs in order. Get that bank account, get the P&L, software, pay an accountant or bookkeeper, somebody to create it for you, because they're going to want to see that. Know your numbers, okay? So you know how much you need, what you want to use it for, and an approximate timeline of, how quickly you'll be able to turn it around or complete your project. Everyone knows that timelines are subjective. Shit happens, earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes in Texas. So there's a lot of things that can happen to change and alter your timeline. That's okay, right? It's going to affect the budget because, of course, you, as the person who's spearheading the project, you will want to make sure that everything is staying on budget, or have a project manager do that for you, however you do it, right? So that was a couple of things just wanted to share with y'all. Hopefully you found this helpful. Definitely share this out with anyone, any business owner that you know who is currently looking for funding, but they keep running into brick walls and they don't know how to overcome the hurdles. I'm here to help. I all I need is for my people to take action when we get on the call. Don't be afraid of the paperwork. It's there to get you more money. They're not giving out 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, $5 million loans to anybody that can't show paperwork. It's not a thing. All right. So if you're looking to build a hotel, you're looking to start a grocery store, you're looking to do a car dealership, they want some docs. Have the docs. All right. So that's what I got, everybody. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. I'm about to walk into the store real quick. Actually, going to get some Starbucks. So, all right, y'all. Peace.